This article from Cointelegraph recently appeared on my timeline and stated, new Google search interest for Bitcoin is now at the same level as when Bitcoin was priced around $16,000. This is really intriguing to me because when we consider the current state of the market cyclically, it feels a lot like the roughly October-November period of 2020. I firmly believe that we are on the verge of a much bigger breakout for all of cryptocurrency. Naturally, there is a lot of anxiety at the moment. Headlines are full of talk about a possible crash, and this and that. And these are the kinds of things that we also heard at the time, when old coins were being sold off against Bitcoin, and the cryptocurrency was just kind of chopping. Then, suddenly, everything changed at the end of December and the beginning of January 2021. Google searches and trend histories make it clear that retail isn't focused these days. Additionally, I stated that despite the fact that we are at all-time highs, retail is not at all keen about cryptocurrency. The same is true for XRP. For example, XRP is currently priced at roughly $2, right? And in terms of interest in XRP over the past 5 years, we're currently trading at about 16. That would be about the middle of November, I guess. Additionally, it is approximately the same time as July 2023. What's interesting, though, is that given how much more valuable XRP is in comparison to, say, the end of October, I would anticipate a lot more attention and engagement surrounding XRP. However, once more, retail lacks focus. They don't give a damn because we've been chopping and selling off for the past 5 months or so. Prior to delving deeply into this video, I would want to take a moment to inform you all that you may access a wealth of free content by signing up for the free Discord account described below. You can join the paid version of Discord and have access to a wealth of important, unique content if you also sign up for the free version. Its content comes from me, a whole team of teaching assistants and research people, like the tokenizer, for instance. Therefore, you are more than welcome to participate if you so choose. Once more, you are not required to. You have an option. Having stated that, let's get started on a few topics. First things first, let's go on to this announcement. As I mentioned, there isn't much interest in XRP. Retail doesn't give a damn. And the fact that the SEC lawsuit is almost entirely settled makes it insane. And we've even heard from Eleanor New that Ripple and the SEC government have jointly asked a Manhattan District Court to lift the injunction in their current lawsuit and release the $125 million civil penalty that was kept in escrow. They are suggesting that $50 million be sent to the SEC and that the remaining money be given back to Ripple. This move is the most recent in a larger attempt to resolve the lawsuit and any ongoing appeals, and prevent the two parties from going to court again. Once more, we have no idea when this will be fully fixed, but it feels like we are getting very, very close. In addition, the petition makes the case that extraordinary circumstances, such as a settlement, a change in SEC policy regarding cryptocurrency, and a wish to prevent additional litigation, justify amending Judge Torres's final ruling. This comes after she rejected a similar request for a revision in May. Once more, will we see any encouraging results from this as of yet? It may take a little longer to get resolved, but with all the good news coming out of the SEC, for instance, and all the attention being paid to the SEC's crypto policy since they completely changed it, it does seem like we should be getting there. Furthermore, is this one of the most important factors that could make or ruin XRP at this point? I don't think so. You must keep in mind that we still have a massive catalyst ahead of us. By the way, XRP was cleared entirely. ETFs are actually the next major catalyst that I'm considering. Actually, there was a significant update coming from the Solana floor. Bloomberg reports that Solana ETFs are getting closer to approval after the SEC requested that 3 asset managers amend their filings to address 2 important aspects of the fund. Although this is a Solana-based account, I don't believe it's just Solana, because we also have to consider how the funds will be handled and whether or not investors will be able to receive rewards by staking their Solana tokens. However, following SEC examination, a new generation of crypto ETFs is becoming closer to reality. Bloomberg is the source of this information. They are obviously focusing on Solana first. However, I do believe that there is a strong push for all of the ETFs. Even you know that when we consider XRP on the poly market, there is an 89% chance that XRP ETFs will say it is Ripple, but we already know that it isn't. In fact, we already know that XRP ETF approved in 2025 has an 89% chance. Since this is retail betting, we cannot take this as confirmation that it is you, but we have heard from some very well-known names, for instance. You know, Narashi just posted something on BlackRock CK, I believe. We have the co-founder of the ETF Institute, the president of ETF, the store, and the host of ETF Prime. By the way, I still have every expectation that BlackRock will apply for XRP, Solana, and spot ETFs, being a leader in Ethereum and Bitcoin. Exchange-traded funds, ETFs. It would be illogical to introduce additional leading crypto asset ETF categories to rivals. Similarly, I completely anticipate BlackRock CK to apply for an index-based crypto asset exchange-traded fund, ETF. Now guys, consider this. This is what I have repeatedly said. The BlackRock file for an ETF will be authorized as soon as we see it. They will all be approved. This implies that if someone has an XRP ETF filing, the second BlackRock CK files, it will be pushed through, and all subsequent filings will follow. Why? What am I saying? Examine the past. It had to do with Bitcoin. With Ethereum, it did. It took place during Gendler's rule, by the way. A Bitcoin ETF was the second BlackRock CK application. January 2023 saw it entirely pushed through. By the way, tell me what's so crazy about that? I apologize. It was January 2024. What's strange about that, though, is that if we go back to that period, Gendler said that they had to approve the Bitcoin ETF even if they didn't want to. Why? The SEC was being told that they had to by whom? BlackRock CK was there. Therefore, BlackRock's application for an ETF has a 99% chance of being approved. I'm genuinely focused on this because of this. And yeah, given that Nate has been involved in the ETF industry for a while, I do take this as a very, very serious opinion on these ETFs in general. In my opinion, this makes a lot of sense, and he has a lot of expertise. You do realize that I have discussed it on the channel? We have an Ethereum and Bitcoin ETF. We have XRP ETFs, so why wouldn't we? In the past year, it has outperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum and is one of the biggest and most focused on digital assets from the retail side. Additionally, we received a significant update from a Bloomberg ETF analyst. According to Bloomberg, ETF analysts, the cryptocurrency spot ETFs with basket index funds have 90% approval odds, with Litecoin and Solana leading the pack. Indeed, if we look at these baskets and indices, we will see that XRP is at 85%, Litecoin is at 90%, and Solana is at 90%. It's absurd to me that Litecoin and Solana have a 90% chance, while XRP has an 85% chance. It doesn't make sense. Avalanche at 75%, DOT at 75%, HAR at 80%, Dogecoin at 80%, 88 at 75%, and of course, SUI at 60%. So, once more, the market is beginning to take notice of these, cryptocurrency assets, and I do believe that we will begin to see announcements of ETFs centered around some of these digital assets in the fall. That seems like the ideal window of time for us to receive approval. It may, of course, occur at any time. I'm absolutely focused on this, though. It's actually a major catalyst for any kind of cryptocurrency. However, antique coins are the main focus here, correct? These are ETFs for altcoins. If we're not already in alt season at that time, I do believe that an old coin ETF's complete approval will be the spark that ignites the fire for alt season as well. Furthermore, let's consider how optimistic XRP has been. Alright, I mentioned all of the major announcements in a prior video, correct? Live on XRP, just like USDC is now. We also discussed OUSG and, of course, Guggenheim's partnership with a significant US investment firm that uses Ripple's XRP platform to provide tokenized commercial paper. Furthermore, Trident Digital recently gave us a $500 million treasury boost, correct? This business is listed on the Nasdaq. The goal is to raise up to $500 million in order to construct one of the first corporate treasuries in the world that is centered on XRP and will launch in 2025. Long-term XRP holdings, staking, and ecosystem integration are all part of the plan. As Vivo Power raises $121 million to create XRP Reserve, XRP also follows the crypto treasury trend. This occurred towards the end of May. Following this, Hypers, of course, announced plans to acquire $10 million in XRP by the end of 2025 for a new institutional DeFi platform that provides XRP loans to publicly traded corporations. When we consider the broader situation for XRP, well, since everyone is still discussing Bitcoin, well, it's all about Bitcoin. Everyone is discussing Bitcoin. Oh, you must concentrate on Bitcoin. Even Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, is discussing Bitcoin. Right now, everyone's attention is on the wrong issue. Furthermore, I don't believe it's solely about XRP. It has to do with altcoins. Why is Bitcoin still our main concern at the moment? When we consider where all of the money is going next, it seems absurd that it would be near ancient coins. How? Are we aware? Well, the ETFs are to blame. The ETFs are the reason for this. This is what many of these large corporations are currently doing using XRP. When it comes to being one of the most optimistic cryptocurrency altcoins at the moment, XRP is at the top of the list. We're also considering the possibility of all these businesses incorporating XRP into their overall treasury or using the XRP ledger to provide tokenized goods of value. Ultimately, everyone is realizing how bullish XRP is, with the exception of retail. Right now, retail is totally lost. They're not even paying attention to XRP, but we are, and I believe everyone should be, as it's currently so bullish with everything going down, including the wire on the SEC case. I believe that the remainder of this year will be incredibly significant for XRP and all other coins. Indeed, it is possible that we are currently experiencing a mild storm. There may be some adverse price movement ahead of us. However, I want you all to understand that, like every other time, we will overcome this. The best thing about this is that it's not that different this time. The best aspect, though, is that we have all of this data to support our claims and essentially give us great confidence in our investment, because XRP has a ton of optimistic announcements to back it up. There are movements behind it, Major. That actually indicates a significant change from both the institutional and business, or enterprise sides. In my opinion, all of this is putting a lot more strain on the ETF side of things. Looking at all of these announcements, I would be thinking, wow, this thing is going crazy if I were BlackRock. We must obtain an exchange-traded fund, ETF, for XRP. Therefore, I believe that it will not be long before BlackRock begins to genuinely apply for an XRP ETF. And I believe that every single XRP ETF is approved after that. It follows the same pattern that occurred with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Having said that, I hope you all found this video entertaining. You are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord. Down description below if you guys leave a like, subscribe, and notifications on since there is more free content. And with that, thank you for watching, Nick guys. Goodbye.